notes and solutions for day 61 of the 5 a day, and we're being asked about quadrilaterals. So these are four-sided 2D shapes. And we have one line of symmetry. So let's think about some of the shapes that we know. Let's think about our square. Let's think about our rectangle. Now, lines of symmetry are mirror lines. So our square has lots, doesn't it? It has one down the middle here, it has one across the middle, has them going across the diagonal as well. So our square has lots of lines of symmetry. Our rectangle, again, has a vertical and a horizontal one down the middle. So that's not our shape at all, is it? What other quadrilaterals do we have? Well, we have a trapezium, which has a pair of parallel lines here. Well, that's got no lines of symmetry. What else have we got? We've got, a bit like our square, we have a leaning over square, which is our rhombus. A bit like our rectangle, we have a leaning over rectangle, which is our parallelogram. Now, do these have any lines of symmetry? Well, the parallelogram, no, the parallelogram has none. Because the rhombus, all these sides are equal, then actually we've got a line of symmetry here, and we've got a line of symmetry here. And the fact that we have none here with the parallelogram, but one here, two here rather, with the rhombus, starts to give us a clue as to which our quadrilateral might be. Here we have the quadrilateral that we're after, which is our kite. Now, not only do you need to know the names of these shapes, you need to know about their properties, you need to know about their sides, you need to know about their angles. And little sketch drawings like this are the key to being able to do that. Now, a nugget for you to go and investigate and do some practice on is 29.03 on century. Okay, so we've got a ratio of 2 to 3, and very important when we're working with ratios that our parts here are equal. And once we draw these parts so that they are equal, it becomes very easy to see the relationship between ratios and fractions. So we're asked, what fraction of the school are girls? Well, it's these three parts here, and that's three parts out of how many? It's 3 parts out of 5. So our answer there is 3/5. The nugget to go and practice on century is 15.11. And if you start to appreciate this relationship between ratio and fractions, then the mystery and the fear of both of these topics will start to go away. And your first step has always got to be to draw yourself a little diagram, because those diagrams really help to make everything clear. Okay, well, our first task here is to be able to understand what this number is here. And so we need to be on top of our place value. Very easy for us to remember that these are the ones, tens, hundreds. Now, the pattern that I want you to remember is to work in threes here, but these next three are thousands, 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. So we're following this 1, 10, 100 pattern. And likewise through here, these are our millions. 1, 10. So if we've got 23 million, then that is 23 with zeros all the way down here. Okay, so our next step is that we need to find 4% of it. Okay, well, let's have as our building block finding 1%. Well, 1% is 1 over 100, and to find 100th of something, we're going to divide by 100. Now, hopefully we've remembered that if we divide numbers by 10, then we move them one place to the right. We're dividing by 100, so we're moving 2 places to the right. So my 2 has gone here, my 3 has gone here, and I'm left with 4 zeros. Now, instead of 23, instead of 1%, I want 4%. So that's 4 lots of 23 with 4 zeros after it. Let's just do our 23 times 4 over here. 4 threes are 12. 1, 92. Okay, so this equals 92 and 4 zeros. Now we need to add this because this was an increase of 4%. So this means we need to add it to the 23 million that we started with. So let's write in our 23 million. We've got lots of zeros, and you see it that I'm writing it so that my columns are very clearly lined up with one another. As soon as we start writing big numbers, it's very easy to sort of spider across the page. I've kept everything lined up. So everything here, we're adding zeros to zeros. Again, I'm keeping everything lined up. Now we have a 2, 9, 3, and a 2. So there we are. There's our answer. And the nugget to go and practice on Century, 2.01 in relation to place value, and in relation to our percentages, 7.06. Okay, so question 4 is the recipe question. Now I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. I'm going to show you a way that's always going to work, and I'm going to show you another quicker way that you might see or you might not. But let's start with the way that's always going to work. And I'll start with my famous ratio table. So if you look at butter here, for 4 people, we can see that we need 80 grams of butter. So for 1 person, we divide it by 4. We need to do the same thing here. So we'll divide our 80 by 4, and we find that for 1 person, we need 20 grams of butter. So if we need to do 6 people, then that's going to be 6 times 20, which equals 120. Now, I will leave you to do each of the others there. But I now want to look at method B. And in method B, we actually just take a look here at our 4 and our 6 and see, is there a quick way of getting from 4 to 6? Well, to get from 4 to 6, we might see that we can get there by adding 2, and we might see that 2 is half of 4, which means that to find our recipe for 6, all I need is to add half of each of these. So in method B, first thing I'm going to do is calculate half of each of these, which is 40, 30, 50, and 20. So our total 80 and 40, 120, 60 and 30, 90, 100, 150, 40 and 20 is 60. So method A will always work. Method B you may or may not see. And to some extent, this is going to depend on whether a question like this appears in a calculator or a non-calculator paper. If it's in a calculator paper, it's possibly more likely that method A will work. If it appears in a non-calculator paper, then it's likely that some sort of approach using method B will work. In any event, what we were asked to do here is how much caster sugar, and that is here. So our answer is 90, and not to study our units, 90 grams. And to go and see some more of these recipe questions, in particular type B, then go to Nugget 16.02 on Central. Okay, question 5. We're asked not only to factorise, but we're asked to factorise fully. So we'll do both of these parts separately. So first of all, factors. These are numbers that go into, they're part of each of these terms. And the first thing that we can see is that x is part of each of these terms. So I'm going to take that out as a factor, and the rest of my expression is going to appear in brackets. If the factors multiply together to make a number, so x, and there's an invisible multiplication sign here. So what's the rest of this term here once I've taken x out? Well, the rest is 12x, and all that's left over here is 3. So there we are. I've factorised my expression, and one of the factors is x, and another of the factors is 12x plus 3. Now, I said we were going to have to come back to factorise fully, because the chances are when we see that, it means there's an extra step that we need to take. And what we can see is that 3 goes into each of these. So I'm going to now take this outside. So we now have 3x. So of course this is 3 times x times. So if I take 3 out of this term here, what am I left with? Well, I'm left with 4x, and what am I left with here? 1. So my expression is 3 times x times 4x plus 1. And that's it fully factorised into these 3 factors. Now, we're not going to have these multiplication signs in, they're just there to make it clear to you why we've done what we've done. So our fully factorised expression is 3x times 4x plus 1. The nugget to go and practice on Century here, 18.08. Now that's the end of the notes and solutions for day 61 of your GCSE 5 a day. If you've got any further questions, please ask your teacher to help.